Right. So, for our first and only review of the day is going to be for the series "I'm a Virgo." "I'm a Virgo" is a limited series on Amazon Prime right now from the creator Boots Riley. I've been meaning to check this out. I was a huge fan of Boots Riley and his film "Sorry to Bother You." I think this is really a great film. One of my favorite films of the last 10 years. Really, you know, out there kind of premise, sci-fi. Speaking about we talked about the Book of Clarence a little bit before. Lakeith Stanfield was also in this with Tessa Thompson. You have Terry Crews also in this. Really, really great cast. Lakeith Stanfield, I mean, he's really blowing up. I mean, he's pretty much in a lot of stuff now. I mean, he's kind of premier leading black actor right now. And when you watch Bruce Riley, especially his stuff, and you watch him speak publicly, very politically conscious guy, puts a lot of that messaging into his movies. And when you see Sorry to Bother, you'll definitely see that and see all that messaging there. I do think the ending of this movie, I'm not how you feel about the ending. I do think the ending is a little, I think it kind of misses the mark just a tad bit. What do you think about Sorry to Bother You and
I agree with everything you said. I love the movie. The ending, I'm like, why? No, please, no. But yeah, Afro surrealism at its finest. Code switching is a big part of the movie. What this black man has to do in order to be successful at his job. He has to change, the way he speaks. He has to, assimilate whiteness. Something we see in American fiction. Like, how come a great black writer has to um, pander to a white audience? Like, we want a black book. It is a black book. I'm the author. I'm black. I wrote it. It's a black book. Oh, you know what I mean. I'm talking about, crackhead moms, deadbeat dads, like the real black experience. Um, and there's a lot of that in Sorry to Bother You. Whether it's assimilating whiteness or code switching, again, capitalism is a big thing in almost, and so far, all of his projects, corporate greed, the ability to buy someone's soul and rob them of their integrity, um, and just, things that companies will do just to maintain production and, efficiency, like the whole horse thing that threw me.
everything?
It was a big swing, but and it really threw me. It was off-putting at first, but I was along for the ride in that theater back in 2018, and I really loved it. I liked how Tessa Thompson's earrings kept magically changing and kept saying like really big things, like she had really big heavy earrings, and they kept changing like messages. Um, uh, who's the actor who was in Coming to America 2? He plays Eddie's son. There's that
Uh,
scene they have with Lakeith, like, um, oh, you hope I have a good day. I hope you have a good day. My brother, I hope you just come up the rest of the week and have the whole day is like put up success and
oh,
wonderful. Just come on, man.
let me see if I can pull up the actor real quick.
Yeah,
Jermaine Fowler.
yeah, he's great in the movie. Him and Lakeith are awesome as playing friends. Um, um, who else is in it? Army Hammer is in it, right?
Yeah, he didn't eat nobody in it. Yeah,
He didn't eat nobody. Yeah, not even the horses, but like, oh my god, when Lakeith's character is like brought up in the company, he gets like to attend parties and stuff, and like they, because he's black, oh, you know how to rap, you know how to freestyle, you're black, you know how to play basketball, and they put a mic in his hand, they put him up, and he just says what he says, and these white people buy it. They're like, yeah, this is real hip hop. He's just saying nigga, nigga, shit, nigga, nigga, nigga shit. I'm like, bro. And they're like, I was dying in the theater because the white people in the audience were just eating up. It was hilarious. Um,
yeah.
yeah, he puts a lot of that in I'm a Virgo with Jarrell Jerome from Moonlight, When They See Us, Concrete Cowboy, um, a very talented young Dominican actor who does not shy away from his blackness. You know, some Afro Latinos don't want to accept the Afro part. You know, like I'm no black, I'm Dominican. I'm like,
Yeah.
bruh, come on, fam, come on, fam. Like you have an Afro, like you have hair like mine. What are you talking about? Yeah, a 13-foot black man in Oakland. It like you said has that sci-fi kind of uh, flavor to it. Um, we see the black community instantly embrace him and just want him to hang out. Like they don't want anything from him; they just want to be his friend. But once he goes out into the real world, white people want to capitalize on this spectacle, and they want him to be a model. They want to use him for ads, and you know they want to use his body for profit. And his best friend here, who is phenomenal in the show, I forgot the actor's name too.
Carrie Young.
Carrie Young. She is a scene stealer. She is might be the MVP of the show in that last episode where she just goes on this epic um can you call it a monologue? Just
I
a
would say,
speech,
yeah,
monologue
yeah,
on capitalism and the harms of it and the dangers of the system in place in this country. And like, you know, our healthcare system is a for profit healthcare system, which is why so many people like their friend like literally die on the steps of the hospital because they're not insured. So we can't actually help you because you have no money. Oh, you're broke. We can't help you. You know, like if you go to England, you break your arm, you go to the hospital, they fix you up and you go. You don't pay for anything. That's the way it should be. But yeah, this show, the final episode really just hits it home with the message. As even if it is like, you know, like nail on the head, it's you can't miss it what Boots Riley is trying to say.
yeah. So yeah, like you mentioned, so the series, what is it about? I'm Virgo, as Chris was talking about. 13-foot black man that you see in here. And it's played by Jerome here. Like you said, numerous credits that he's been in. He's a up and coming rising young actor. And you have the situation, it's very much like when you see, this is like mixing superhero stuff with sci-fi genre, also with Afro surrealism, very much what you saw. Like if you were familiar with Sorry to Bother You, if anybody's seen that, and there's a lot of elements of Sorry to Bother You that also come back here. Like you even have the character of played by Carrie Young Jones in this, who she's the Tessa Thompson of the movie. Basically, she's one of the main people that is, an activist in her community, trying to raise awareness, trying to build movements, organize in her community there. And so you have a situation where people in this world, they are born with powers. He even meets another character in this who's played by Olivia Washington, who's Flora, who works at the fast food joint. He's always wanted to visit it, and her power is super speed. Everything goes fast, and you even see a moment where you see her backstory of like where she kind of comes from there. But you like I said, very much Bruce Riley, very much this shows a critique on capitalism. It's not very subtle on that. It very much hammers that point home. You see that, Jermaine, that when his character in it, who let me see what his character name, Cootie in this,
Cootie,
uh,
yeah.
you see that when he goes out into the real world, his parents, who are his aunt and uncle, who've taken care of him all his life, who in this is played by Mike Epps, who does a really great job in this. By the way, Mike Epps. But actually, I was like, watching this, I was like, I actually want to see Mike Epps in more serious, dramatic things uh,
Right?
from, from this. I think he's got the combination of being like really funny, but also the combination of like also doing the dramatic stuff. He's like they got that good funny uncle kind of quality to him that can also be very serious. And then the aunt in this is played by Carmen Iago. She was in season 3 of True Detective. She was also in Fantastic Beasts. Purge Anarchy she was in, so she's been in other many things there. So yeah, they've taken care of him most of his life, and they have shielded him from the world, and part of that they've lied to him, lied about certain elements of things. They've built this, it's like how you gonna keep this big ass 13-foot guy hidden all this time? But they build special things for him because in this, it's like they portrayed as like super genius Bob the Builder inventors, construction people who can like build gadgets and different structures for him to be in and things for him to kind of work around in. But eventually he gets found. He gets found by a group of black teens there. One we mentioned, Kara Young, who's played by Jones, and then another one's played by Brent Gray, Felix, and then the other one who's Scat in this. And you see that they kind of befriend him. show him around, give him a taste of the real world. And you see kind of him interacting with other people, how because he's only gotten his knowledge of how to interact with people from television and comic books, and he reads comic books all the time. And one of the comic books he reads is The Hero, which is based on an actual figure in the show, played by Walter Goggins, who has no other name other than just the hero. And he's basically a Tony Stark type figure, tech mogul, genius. He has this super suit that he goes around in, and he's the one that lays down the law and the order in this town, in this city. And Walton Goggins always is up for a great, interesting performance. Like, he's never boring in any role he's ever been in. Um, yeah, and this 7 episodes. Do you think that was enough for this series?
Um, no, I would like another season, and I'm pretty sure Boots Riley would too. I did see it as an interview where he does have season 2 written and ready to go. He just needs, the green light and the funding. I think this definitely has at least one more season worth of story to tell before we put a bow on it and move on to the next Boots Riley project. But we will see. I love the fact that all television, in this day and age, looks so cinematic. But you know, I do also enjoy a limited series, and there's no guarantee we'll get another season 2, but I would like one. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned all the kind of the themes kind of going on here. Capitalism, also, we mentioned that tons of times, and then also, uh, very much a reference of being black in America, right? You have this person, to me, who's 13 feet tall, already perceived as a threat already, and then obviously, it's mirroring that in real life of black men in society. Then it's also common. You mentioned the point of like when he steps out into the world, he gets exposed to capitalism. It's like he eats his favorite fast food joint. The burgers actually, this tastes like ass. It's like, this is actually fucking terrible. Like, I've been thirsting after this whole time. He's been watching it in the commercials, and you know how, like, it's like when you see a McDonald's commercial, they make it never looks as good as when you see it in the commercial. They make it look
Yes.
sexy. The salt on the fries, the dripping barbecue sauce on the McRib. Yeah, it never looks as good as it does in the commercials. Then when you actually go to there and taste it in real in person there. And then he runs into people like you mentioned who try to exploit him and then use him as a model there. And again, because part of the reason why he wants to work and be used, he's trying to get money to go to the spot so he can interact with his person he has a big crush on, and that's the Olivia Washington character, Flora there, and how they kind of form this connection there. And I thought that was really great. And then you can say that speaks to a lot of things of like back in times of slavery where it's like Mandingo type of the ideal black man, and the body, how fetishized that is and
Hmm.
worship that is, and then you even have a cult in here who literally worship him, a bunch of Steve Job looking rejects there, that come around that, it's like, this is the Messiah. He's the guy that we've been looking for, and like worship him there. What did you think about kind of that element of the story?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you. I do remember um, there was this, yeah, a weird little cult. They thought this guy was one they're waiting for, and on the side of that he's modeling. Um, Remember, he got a rash on his
Yeah.
body. Do you think that came from the type of clothing he was wearing? Because his guardians, his uncle and aunt, they would stitch together like blankets and things to make his clothes. Like
Mm,
all his shirts and pants at home were all like patched together of different things to fit him. But this company makes this actual 13-foot like measurement, to hit to his proportion to his size outfit, and the material I think is what is making his skin break out. Like when he's on the ground with Flora,
mm,
after the that they just had, that she took his virginity, um, you see it like on his side, like I think by his rib cage. It's like his skin is rotting almost, like like his flesh is like it's like a really intense rash, and I that was it was never explained. That was one of the ambiguous things. Where did that start? Where did it come from? I think it came from the clothing that the model agency was giving him to wear.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think because he only mentions it when he starts the modeling thing of when he's wearing the clothes, and that gets again, that ties back into capitalism of, like, he's got these trying to, have this look and be this person and buy into this system there, and it's kind of infecting him in a way. Much like what happened in Sorry to Bother You, where you had, Lakeith Stanfield character, like, rise up in the company, and then he's becoming more and more sellout as he's getting
Yeah.
paid more, and he's leaving everyone else behind, and I think that's kinda what happens here in the series a little bit where he gets invested with this company and then he's, forgetting that the friends that he made initially. And I think that's what it does. And you see where it kind of ultimately comes to at the very end of the series. Like, the wound just completely opens up in like this grotesque kind of way there. So, and then a lot of people speculate. I was looking up a lot of theories online. A lot of people speculating whether or not he died or he didn't die in it. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
right.
because of the way it kinda is handled, so, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do a season 2, of the series. What did you think about, Walton Goggins' character and what, he's supposed to represent there?
Yeah, Walter Goggins, like you said, he's such a interesting performer. He's one of those actors. He's really good at playing a racist. He does it fairly often. Um, uh, he's his character reminds me of those white people who take it upon themselves to stop shoplifters, but like they take it too far. Like, oh, now's my they're shoplifting. Now's my chance. Now I have a reason to hurt this person of color. That's kind of slightly he was kind of emanating a little bit. The way this wealthy white man takes it upon himself to deliver justice the way he deems necessary. Like he means well. Like if you watch the show, he means well, but he's a white man, so he's a white man, so his perspective on the world is askew. He does not see things the way everyone else does. So it took like a serious sit down conversation with what's the character's
Jones?
name? Yeah, with the Jones, um, to see the error of his ways, and he does. At the end of her speech, he gets it and like walks away. Right, I think that's what happens. Like he
Yeah.
stops fighting because before he had Cootie on the ground, he was knocking him out because he saw Cootie, like you said, as a threat when all he was doing was listening to Jones and trying to when his friend died because the hospital didn't help him, that made him angry, and he took it upon himself to kind of fight the man, but that was seen as a threat. Protest against you know a capitalistic regime is to the white billionaire a threat. So um yeah, white billionaire taking upon himself, like I think he represented like the Elon Musks of the world,
Mm,
like the white billionaires who think I'm the one who's going to solve this problem because I have the resource and the know-how to do it. I think that's what kind of what the hero represents in this show.
yeah. And he yeah, like you said, great performer. He does play racist quite a bit there. I mean, he's good at it. I mean, hey, it works. Django Unchained, Justified, yeah, it works pretty well for him. But he, it has a variety of I know he's really great in that show, The Righteous Gemstones. I haven't seen it. I hear he's pretty great in that. Been meaning to check it out. But yeah, Walton Goggins is fantastic, and he's great in the show. And like I said, I do agree with your assessment there about his character in the show, and and what he kind of represents. Um, and them trying to do all these kind of themes in 7 episodes, maybe it coulda used an extra episode. Like, I feel like now a lot of these streaming shows are doing, like, 8 episodes seem to be the like, Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Percy Jackson. A lot of the Marvel Disney Plus shows do about 8 or so. I think that's, like, I guess, the new magic number for these streaming shows now. So I woulda maybe like to see maybe another episode to flesh things out, and these episodes aren't hour-long episodes. They're only, like, about 20, 30 something minute long, so they're not that long there. Do you ever feel like it comes off as preachy at all, the show?
Maybe the very end with Jones. Like I understand if you can argue that it's very preachy because there's no it's telling you exactly what's happening and why it's happening and how it's happening and who it's happening to. It's very straightforward. So it can be like they don't do like there's no way they try to hide the vegetables in the mac and cheese. They didn't hide the vegetables in in like in the meat sauce to to disguise what they were trying to do. They gave you the vegetables. Like, this is what you need to know. Eat. Um, so I understand. You could argue that it was preachy. I don't. For me, it wasn't. I think it's an incredibly important message to deliver. There's so many people who are just living really hard lives because the people who run the country are cruel, evil, and greedy, and that's just the bottom line. Capitalism.
Yeah. And I mean, the title of the last episode is literally called, it's a metaphor for what? I mean, so they literally tell you like literally. I mean, it's like they explain like this is what it's a metaphor. This is what the
Yeah,
show's a metaphor for. So they literally do tell you it. I can see, yeah, it is to me a little bit preachy there. The way they kind of handle. I do like the kind of like, I guess Kara's special ability was taking people to this
yeah,
magical world of like monologue, I guess, of a theater production where she
yeah.
has people there. I guess that was her magical ability. And let me see if I can pull up a little bit of it there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
she does this thing with her hands and throws up this shadow shroud, and suddenly you're in this black box theater type of world where she's in control and she can show you what you need to see. And like, I forgot about that part, that there were more than one person in the world with powers, and how being 13 feet was kind of Cootie's power, because with being that tall gave you that kind of strength. Um, but yeah, I was such a fan of how it was shot, how it was like the overall execution is great. I'm so glad you're able to put it up. Yeah, like she killed this scene.
yeah. Yeah, it's really well done. I mean, she's got the models from Kanye's fashion show in here. You know what I mean? They got that going on. So yeah, I mean, literally at this scene, she breaks it all down, explains all how it kind of happens, how it all works, and then in that episode there. So yeah, I guess that was kind of her thing. I guess.
Just
Um,
look at Walter Goggins in this.
oh, let me go back to it here.
This man,
I mean, he's shook when he's, you know what I mean, when he's hearing this. Yeah, I mean, look at
his
this
his
stress.
hair is his hair's ridiculous. Like, you can tell by the size of his forehead, he has a lot of ideas. Um, this is it's like he kind of looks like a Power Ranger villain almost.
Yeah.
Just he just needs a big clunky helmet.
Uh, And
Hilarious.
and for me, it even though it is preachy, I think it works better than some other things. Maybe like if you see like Queen and Slim or something like a Kenyon Barris property. Did you ever see the Angry Black Girl and Her Monster? Did you ever see that movie?
No, I did not see that one.
Okay. And
Uh,
that oh, go
yep.
ahead.
I saw Queen and Slim.
Okay, and the way I think that this is better than something like that in terms of it being preachy is because it is got great humor in it and is the surrealism of things in this world that is wacky and kinda goofy. Like, there's a cartoon in this world where people just say one thing repeatedly over and over again, like it's about this family, and it's this weird, it's something like you would see on, like, Adult Swim or something, there, and it kinda brings that in, and so I think the world is in, like, kinda helps it be so kinda crazy. Same thing with, like, Sorry to Bother You, and then all of a sudden, the people turn into horses and everything like that. Like, okay, I guess that's what we doing now. So that kind of helps it a little bit there, um, in terms of it. As much as it is about critiques on capitalism and everything like that, do you also think it has things to say about the black community negatively as well?
Um, I think so. Yeah. In terms of like not paying attention, not being able to rally together, not being able to organize, because when we you know if we could come together, and if we could all open our eyes to see what's going on and not be complacent, maybe there could be some actual change. There's more of us who are struggling, oppressed, and downtrodden than those who are in power. It's like in Andor. There's 12 guards to a level, but there's 200 prisoners.
Mm,
And there's not enough guards to control us, and they know that. You know, or go back even further to A Bug's Life. The ants outnumbered the grasshoppers, but don't let the ants know that. If they know they outnumber us, there goes our way of life. We need to keep them in control. We need to keep them in check, and that's kind of what we're seeing a lot of in um, I'm a Virgo, with the character of of Jones. She's very, socially conscious, politically aware, and she's struggling to get her people to see that. So, complacency can be, one of the negative critiques of the black community. Just, being happy with where you are instead of fighting back when we could.
Yeah. You do have like kind of like different opposing ideologies here of like you have the Carmen Iago character there where she's very much about doing a lot of more reactionary action to things, you know what I mean? And then more about where opposed to Jones, where it's more about um, organizing, building a movement. It's like doing these attacks necessarily isn't gonna help do that. It's not gonna advance anything. But building a movement, organizing, protesting, that's
Yeah.
gonna do more than doing that ever could. So you see that kind of bumping up against each other. And then in terms of the way that Cootie is raised by his aunt and uncle there. Like I said, very shielded from the world. Um, it is a little, maybe they could have told him the truth on some things there. They didn't really trust him enough to handle that, and that's kind of a mistake there. And also, them doing a lot of fear mongering there. I think in
Yeah.
some cases of like them showing him the book of like all the giants that have been killed and put on display. And you have to balance that as a black parent, raising black children of, being preparing them for the world there, but also not instilling, what I mean, where's the line between that and fear mongering? I think
Hmm.
the series is kind of asking a question about, which I thought was very interesting. Um, yeah, I think really glad I finally checked out this series. A fan of Boots Riley. I think he's 2 for 2 now for me.
Hmm.
I'm always excited to check out what he kind of does next. Do you know if he has anything on his radar?
Besides season two of this, I'm not sure what he has next.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be very interested to always check out. Like him, Donald Glover, are 2 people I'm always like interested to see what they do.
Hmm.
And so he has in this, and also Jordan Peele as well. That's another person I
Yeah.
like to see what they do. So, what would you give? I'm a Virgo. There. What would be your rating for it? Final thoughts and rating.
Uh, your highest rating is Tune In, or
This is cinema is my highest rating, and then Peak is below that, and then Tune In is below that.
okay. Um, I say Tune In. Again, it depends on who you are. If the story itself, if the content and context of the story speaks to you directly, then it might be peak for you. Like these stories mean more to me and you, Josh, because we're black. Um, people um, could watch the Book of Clarence, American Fiction. White folk could watch it and really like it, but it wouldn't mean the message wouldn't mean the same to them because it's not their experience in this country. Um, so um, I would love to say peak, but the entire show was very interesting, but I wasn't entirely like blown away. I love the finale, but and I love the show. When I did my top 10 shows of 2023, it was in the top 10. Um, so I'll say tune in, definitely for sure. Tune in, like check it out for sure.
Yeah. I'd also give it kind of 2, maybe higher tune in for me.
Yeah,
Like I said, I think it is funny in a way that Boots Riley stuff knows how to be. Just very similar, like I said, when I watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like with Donald Glover, like it's uniquely funny in a way that Donald Glover knows how
yeah,
to be in his humor and his dry kind of humor. And this is also in the surrealism, this absurdist kind of comedy style. Boots Riley, kind of these building these elements. It blends kind of really well there, like he did with Sorry to Bother You. Do I think it's as good as Sorry to Bother You? I don't think it's as good as that. I don't think it's as tight as that. Um,
yeah,
I don't think it's as strong or tight as that. But I still do think this is decent in it as a show there. Really good performances from everybody all around. They do a great job in this. Seeing also different characters' point of view, like you even get an episode of Walton Goggins as the hero, where I think you even sympathize with him for a bit, and then the weird relationship he has with his assistant and what his assistant does for him. That was kind of wild and out there. I do think maybe it needed a little bit, maybe more episodes to flesh out some things more and to have a more better finale. I do think it is quite a bit preachy at some points there, but like I said, it kind of works in this world that they're telling. Like you said, it kind of makes it palatable there and kind of this craziness. So for me, I would give it, yeah, a just a strong tune in for me,
Yeah,
for I'm a Virgo there. Yeah, so good show though. I mean, I recommend people checking it out. I watched it basically in a night, basically. Just binging
absolutely.
each episode. I think yeah, you just go from one to the next to the next. There and yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I definitely preferred the ending to I'm a Virgo than the ending of Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah, I did. I think I do like the ending better here, and I'm a Virgo. Yeah, there's none. Yeah, they people just don't randomly turn into cows or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Just turn to an animal. So it's like
Crazy.
okay, their thing. But I did think it was funny and Sorry to Bother You where they like he's trying to speak to them like they don't speak English. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm from Brooklyn, bro. I'm from Oakland, bro. Down the street." Like that was the voice coming out of the horse was kind of funny though.
So funny. So
Yeah, that was kind of good though. But yeah, so two tune ins for I am a Virgo there.